Hello students, this is our fifth lecture on superposition of waves. Today our topic is vibration in a string. Consider a string of length L stretched between two rigid supports. Let small m be the linear density of the string. Linear density means mass per unit length of the string. And let T be the tension in the string due to stretching. If the string is plucked at suitable point and release it with your hands, then this point is set into vibrations. These vibrations are travel along the length of the string in the form of transverse progressive waves. The velocity of this wave is depends upon two factors: tension in the string and linear density or mass per unit length of the string. And this formula is given by the equation V equal to square root of T upon M. From this formula, one thing should be clear, that more the tension, more the velocity. Means string is more tight, more the vibration, it vibrates fastly. Or string is loose, means tension is less, it vibrates slowly. You can observe this thing at home also. Another thing is also there, less the linear density, means linear density depends upon thickness of the string. Greater the thickness, more the linear density. Less the thickness of the string, less the linear density. Means less the linear density, velocity is more, because V is inversely proportional to square root of M. Thickness of the string means, from this one thing should be clear, that if thickness of the string is more, it vibrates slowly, and thickness of the string is less, means thin string is there, it vibrates fastly. This transverse progressive wave set in the string goes at the fixed end or rigid support, and from it gets reflected back. Means suppose crest is incident on that end, it is reflected as a trough. Mean phase changes by a pi radian, and another progressive wave is set up. Note that both progressive waves are identical in all respect, incident and reflected progressive waves, but their directions are opposite, and it satisfies the condition for stationary waves. Means we get a stationary waves in the form of loops. There are different ways string can vibrate. These ways are called as modes of vibration of the string. Let us discuss this. Then, in these figures, we see two modes of vibrations. In first figure, we considered boundary condition we discuss about. Nodes must be formed at the rigid supports or fixed ends, because there is a denser medium, so or rigid boundaries. That's why nodes must be formed. Means in first figure, look here, nodes are formed at the ends and only one antinode is there. This is the simplest way string can vibrate. It is called as the fundamental mode of vibration of the string. Okay. In this case, suppose we consider in all respect, L is the length of the string, and here fundamental mode, only one loop is there, and you know that one loop means wavelength is lambda by 2. One loop consists of two loops, means wavelength lambda, and one loop means lambda by 2. means or distance between two nodes at the ends. It is nothing but the lambda by 2, whatever maybe you can say. So length of the loop equals to what? How we can take it? L equal to lambda by 2. So lambda equals to 2L. Here lambda we consider a wavelength of the wave set up in the string in the fundamental mode, and n is the frequency. But we know that velocity equals to n into lambda. So n equals to v upon lambda. But v is what? Square root of t upon m, as mentioned earlier. And lambda is 1 upon 2L. Means we get here fundamental mode frequency n equals to 1 upon 2L square root of t upon m. It is a fundamental frequency, and it is also called as the first harmonic because it is a 1n. You know it. Harmonics and overtones. Thereafter, in second mode of vibration, we discuss. In second mode of vibration, you see that two loops are produced. At ends, again nodes are there. Means here, at the middle and ends, nodes are there. Means three nodes are there and two antinodes are there. Two loops means, and here length is L. How we L, and here we considered a frequency N1 and wavelength lambda 1. Then what is the relation between lambda 1 and L? These two loops are there. Two loops related with wavelength lambda 1. So L equals to what? 2 lambda 1 by 2 means lambda 1. Or lambda 1 equal to 2L upon 2. 2 is not cancelled here for convenience. Lambda 1 is the wavelength of the mode and N1 is the frequency. So velocity equals to what? N1 lambda 1. So N1 equals to V upon lambda 1. V is what? Again square root of T upon M, same. And lambda 1 is 2L upon 2. 2 goes numerator. So you can take here 1 upon 2L square root of T is N and means it is 2N. Means 2N is there. N1 equals to double the fundamental frequency. Means it is the second harmonic and it is also called as the first overtone, as earlier mentioned. Thereafter we go through third mode of vibration. Look here, in third mode, three loops are produced. Let N1 be the frequency, N2 be the frequency and lambda 2 be the wavelength. In this case, three loops are there, means lambda 2 by 2, lambda 2 by 2, lambda 2 by 2, 3 lambda 2 by 2, total length is. So L equals to 3 lambda 2 by 2. So lambda 2 equals to what? 2L upon 3. Lambda 2 is the wavelength of this mode. N2 is the frequency. Then we get here velocity equal to, similarly we can take here V equal to N2 lambda 2. So N2 equals to V upon lambda 2, which is equals to 3 upon 2L same square root of T upon M. So 1 upon 2L square root of T upon M is N. So it is a 3N. 3N means here we consider third harmonic and second overtone. Then look here, in first case we get a N, fundamental mode. In second mode we get 2N. In third mode we get 3N. What is the next one? Similarly, higher modes are 4N, 5N, 6N and so on. Thus, all harmonics are present in a straight string and frequencies are NP equals to NP into N. P is 1, 2, 3, 4 and so on. One question should be there. Show that all harmonics are present in the vibration of straight string. Then you have to mention it. Figures carries 1.5 mark, 3 figures, and 3 expressions carries 1.5 marks. Sometimes final statement also gets half mark. This mark is adjusted. Similarly, we can take here pth overtone, mean NP equal to P plus 1N. These conditions are satisfied in pipe open at both ends. In last article we discuss it, or last period we discuss it. Okay, very simple things are there. Thereafter we go through the laws of vibration of the string. Next topic is there. Means the fundamental frequency of string under the tension is given by n equal to 1 upon 2L square root of T upon M. Means these fundamental frequencies are depends upon three factors: vibrating length, tension in the string, and linear density or mass per unit length. So we come across three laws. First law, it's called as the law of length. It is related with change in length. Law of tension related with change in tension, and law of linear density related with change in linear density. Let us consider law of length. How we can take it then? The fundamental frequency of vibration of the string. Look here, fundamental frequency of vibration of the string is inversely proportional to length of the vibrating string. Mean n is inversely proportional to 1 upon L. If tension and mass per unit length, or you can say linear density also, are constant. Okay, simple law is there. We can make this law with the help of formula. We can make the law, not necessary to read it. Directly you can take what is n? It is the fundamental frequency of vibration of string. What is L? Vibrating length. So fundamental frequency of vibrating string is inversely proportional to length of the vibrating string when tension in the string and linear density are constant. Similarly, we can make the law of tension. How we can make it? N is directly proportional to square root of T. Look at it. Square root of T is at numerator. So you can take here directly proportional. So how we can make this law? Again, same thing. Fundamental frequency of vibrating string is directly proportional to square root of tension in the string. If vibrating length and linear density are constant. Okay. Thereafter, similarly, you can make the law of linear density. How we can take it? Linear density is at denominator and square root term is there. So fundamental frequency of vibrating string is inversely proportional to square root of linear density, or you can say mass per unit length of the wire, if vibrating length and tension in the string are kept constant. Similarly, we can make the laws. Not necessary to read these laws. Directly you can put up the formula and you make the law with the help of your brain power. Now, alternate statements are there. Means here we expand this law, third law. We know that a linear density is nothing but the mass per unit length, mass divided by length. Mass divided by length means mass is nothing but the volume into density. You know density equal to mass upon volume. So mass equal to volume into density into length. Then we know that wire has a cylinder. And what is the volume of the cylinder? Volume of the cylinder is pi r square L. Pi r square is the area of cross section or thickness, related with thickness. And L is the rho is the density. So pi r square rho L upon L. L gets cancelled. So linear density equals to what? Pi r square rho. Directly you can take it. So fundamental frequency of vibrating string is inversely proportional to 1 upon square root of, instead of m we take here pi r square rho. So pi is a constant, but r square taken outside the square root means we get r, and here square root of rho. Then we get again two laws with the help of this law. How we can take it? Fundamental frequency of vibrating string is inversely proportional to square root of density of material of the wire. Note that this density is the volume density, not a linear density. Okay, again one time, fundamental frequency of vibrating string is inversely proportional to square root of density of material of the wire. And second one means, what is meaning of this law? For copper wire and for iron wire and for aluminum wire, if material is different, their fundamental frequencies are also different, even if their thickness is same or linear density is same. Okay. Now, and fundamental frequency of vibrating string is inversely proportional to radius of the wire. Directly, radius is depends upon the thickness of, more the radius, more the thickness. More the thickness, less the fundamental frequency. Means same thing is there. Thick wires are vibrate slowly. Thin wires vibrate fastly. Mean fundamental frequency is inversely proportional to a radius of the wire. These are the two laws again. Then we get a 5 laws like it. Law of length, law of tension, law of linear density, law of volume density, and law of radius of the wire. Okay. Thereafter we go through another thing, means a sonometer. Question arises, what is a sonometer first, and what are the uses of the sonometer? Just like in the figure, sonometer apparatus is there. Students are advised to see in the YouTube videos of the sonometer experiment. Okay. Then after lockdown, when school is open, this is our first experiment in the lab. Okay. And two experiments we verify. We verify the law of frequency or law of vibrating string. Means first law, vibrating, or law of length, and law of tension. Two laws are verified with the help of sonometer. Then such type of apparatus is there as shown in figure. It consists of hollow rectangular wooden box. It is also called as a sound box, in which large amount of air is vibrate. Means large amount of air is situated in that box, and this box are having two holes as shown in the figure. Then this air amplifies the air vibrates inside the box, and which amplifies the sound which is produced by a metal string which is fixed on the upper side of the box. This is exactly similar to that of the musical instruments like guitar, tanpura, violin, sitar, and so on. Okay. There are two movable bridges, say as shown here, P and Q. They are also called as the knife edges. They are placed on the box along the width of the box. Means they are placed along the width of the block, thickness of the block. Okay. And which can be movable along the length of the box. Means they can move forward and backward also. A metal wire of uniform cross section is fixed at one end. Means any metal wire we consider. Here is a hook as shown in the figure. It is the fixed end of the box, and this metal wire is passed over a bridges P and Q, and thereafter it is passed over a pulley. Here is a pulley as shown here. Pulley attached to the other end of the sonometer box. Means at one end there is a hook. Metal wire is attached here, fixed end. Other end is passed over a pulley, and between pulley and hook there are the two movable bridges, and this wire is passed over the bridges. Okay. And thereafter at the free end of the wire there is the hanger along with a slotted weights. The weight of the hanger is 0.5 kilogram, and weight of the slotted weights are also 0.5 kilogram. By adjusting the weight in the hanger, we can change the tension in the wire. This is a simple way. Then a tuning fork, how we can make the experiment on it. Tuning fork is set into vibration with the help of rubber pad or padding on the rubber pad. Tuning fork is set into vibration, and its stem is placed on the sonometer box. Vertically it is placed and near the string. As tuning fork vibrates, wire also vibrates between two movable bridges. Why? Tuning fork gives a force vibration to the wire. Mean wire also becomes vibrate. And this vibrations again travels along the length of the wire in the form of transverse waves. When this transverse wave goes towards any one movable bridge, P or Q, it get reflected back. Another transverse wave is produced. Then incident and reflected transverse waves set up a stationary wave in the form of fundamental mode. Okay. Then by the superposition of the waves, by adjusting the length between the wires, we have to adjust the length between the wire by moving the movable bridges. Then at a particular stage, wire vibrate with its own natural frequency. If the natural frequency, and note that this natural frequency is inversely proportional to the length. Frequency is more, length is less. So adjust the length between movable bridges. Suppose we considered a frequency of the tuning fork is 288 Hz and wire vibrate at the frequency of 290, suppose, means frequency of the wire is more. Then what we have to do? We have to increase the length of the wire between two movable bridges. When we increase the length, then what happens? The frequency of the wire becomes 289, and at the particular stage it also becomes 288, means frequency of vibration of the string and frequency of the vibration of the tuning fork are exactly match. Means we say that there is resonance between the tuning fork and wire vibrate with maximum amplitude. And the paper rider, which is kept at the middle of the movable wire, movable bridges falls down. Okay, and we measure the length between them simply. Thereafter, what is the use of this sonometer? With the help of this sonometer, we can verify the laws of vibrating string. How? Let us say, verification of first law of vibrating string. Measure the mass and length of the wire. Means a wire is taken, means, and its mass is taken, and thereafter its length is measured. Mass divided by length means we get a linear density of the wire. Initially, this mass is measured with the help of a spring balance or other balance which are available in the lab. Measure the length with the help of meter scale and thereafter find the linear density. A wire is stretched on the sonometer back and hanger is suspended to free end. A suitable tension is applied to the wire by placing slotted weights on the hangers. Say suitable weight means hanger's weight is 500, another 500 is put up, then 1000 is there or 2000, decide yourselves. Fixed weight is put here, tension is constant. A light paper rider is placed on the wire midway between the bridges. Paper rider is kept between two movable bridges at the center. Then a tuning fork of frequency N1, take one tuning fork, a 5 tuning fork set is given, 5, 4, whatever maybe you can say. Take a tuning fork of frequency N1 is set into vibration by striking on the rubber pad and its stem is held in contact with the sonometer box. By changing the distance between bridges, frequency of vibration of the wire is changed. Mean we change the movable distance between movable bridges, mean we change the length, and as we change the length, we change the frequency of the vibrating string because of first law, means frequency is inversely proportional to length. So change the length between them. At a resonance, wire vibrate with maximum amplitude because frequency of vibration of the wire is exactly equal to frequency of the tuning fork. And the paper rider wire vibrate with maximum amplitude because at resonance, and paper rider which is thrown up. Note the corresponding length. Say this length is L1 between the bridges. And thereafter, take another tuning fork of frequency N2. Again, repeat the procedure. mean again it's set into vibration and its time is kept here, and thereafter again adjust the distance between two movable bridges, and when resonance paper rider again falls down, so on. Okay, and thereafter repeat the procedure for another tuning forks of frequencies N2, N3, N4 and so on. Note the corresponding lengths L2, L3, L4 and so on. Then it is found that, or it is observed that, in lab we use 5 tuning forks of frequencies like as 288, 256 initially we take, 288, 320, 341 and 384. And thereafter in second column we take the vibrating lengths. We take for one tuning fork 2 readings are taken, and thereafter take a mean reading, and thereafter take the product of frequency of the tuning fork and vibrating length. Then it is found that N1 L1 equal to N2 L2 equal to N3 L3 almost equal to column constant, mean last column is constant. So from this we can conclude that N into L is constant. As N into L is constant, means N is inversely proportional to length. If here tension is constant and wire is not changed, means its linear density is constant, meaning if T and M are constant, hence law of length is verified. In this way we can verify the law of length. Thereafter we go through another law, verification of second law of vibrating string, which is second law, frequency of vibration of the string. Vibration of the string is directly proportional to square root of tension in the string. Mean in this case vibrating length L of a given wire of linear density M is kept constant, mean length is kept constant, mean bridges are not moved, and linear density mean wire is not changed. Then what we have to do? Change the tension in the hanger. Means by changing the tension for the same length is made to vibrate in unison with tuning forks of different frequencies. Mean we take different tuning forks and thereafter adjust the tensions. It is not practically correct thing or not proper, but we consider here. Suppose tensions are increases, means low not here, length is constant, linear density is constant. Only what we have to do, different frequency tuning forks are taken. First tuning fork is taken N1. There is no change in the length between movable bridges. Only we have to change the tension in the string. Let T1 is the tension for corresponding frequency N1. T2 be the tension for corresponding frequency N2, T3 be the tension for, and so on. Then you can observe that N1 upon square root of T1, N2 equal to N2 upon square root of T2, or N3 upon square root of Tt equal to constant. Or you can say here N upon square root of T equal to constant. Therefore, N is directly proportional to square root of T if L and M are constant. Thereafter, means fundamental frequency of vibrating string is directly proportional to square root of tension in the string if L and M are constant. Thereafter, we are going forward a verification of third law. Here, for verification of third law means we have to take the law of linear density. Mean we have to take the two wires. Mean take two wires of different linear density, say M1 and M2. Apply suitable tension to the first wire and made to vibrate with unison with a given tuning fork. The vibrating length L1 is noted. Okay, vibrating length L1 is taken. Tuning fork is fixed. When frequency of the tuning fork is fixed. Using the same fork, the second wire is made to vibrate under same tension and vibrating length L2 is determined. Means we take to frequency of the tuning fork is same. Okay, and we take tension, that means here tension is same. Only we have to take two different wires and two vibrating strings. The two vibrating lengths are there, L1 and L2. Then it is found that L1 square root of M1 equal to L2 square root of M2. By mistake I am taking here L1 M1, L2 M2 should be there. Or L square root of M equal to constant. By first law, we know N is inversely proportional to L. And by third, then we get N is inversely proportional to square root of M. If T and M are constant, means we cannot directly prove this law. It is not practically happens. Indirectly, we proved this law. In this way, we can verify three laws of vibrating string. Most important law is the first law. It can be asked in the exam. A diagram should be essential. An explanation should be there. And second law sometimes asked, not frequently. And third law is almost not asked. But prepare all them. Thereafter, our next topic is bits. We discuss this topic in next lecture. Today, it's enough. Have a good day. Thank you.